Election Day is November 5th, and we're sitting down with Norwalk's candidates for Common Council and Board of Education, and we're asking them for their qualifications, their opinions, and their visions for Norwalk. In the 2 years that you've been on the council, what do you feel you've brought to the council? What do you feel you personally helped accomplish on the council?
That's a great question. Being the youngest elected official on that council, I feel like I have brought a different perspective. Unfortunately, it is a very tenured council in some instances, and there's a lot of kind of antiquated, in my opinion, or old school of thought that unfortunately doesn't allow a freshman, with brand new, fresh ideas to come to the table and have them be exercised. You're up against, a kind of a bureaucracy, and you're up against folks that have been on the council for years, in some cases 20 years, that just are just comfortable in the way they've done business and aren't looking to really change much and disturb the waters much, because they do feel that if change is too drastic, it will outrage the community. So, I feel like I've brought some passion to the table, some energy, certainly community involvement, constituent services, and a voice for the Hispanic community, which has been a huge void on that council for a while. So I think that a lot of my presence, if you will, on the council has been unique, I think, and also has been pretty aggressive and passionate at times. But I feel that sometimes my voice has not been heard or taken into consideration. So therefore, I've had to, kind of maneuver myself, if you will, into a position of perhaps opposition of the norm or what is typically going on there in order to be heard. So it's been a challenging 2 years, to say the least.
Why seek re-election?
That's also a great question. I think for me, I'd like to be in a position to be in the majority party on that council and have a very good working relationship with a Democratic mayor. I think that if we can get a Democratic mayor and also a good majority, a solid, loyal majority to Democratic principles, no defections, and caucusing with the caucus, we can really accomplish some good things. I think, in my opinion, that the Democrats have more of a progressive platform and agenda than the Republicans do. At least from my experience here in Norwalk over the past 2 years, I feel that we have wanted to do more. We've wanted to change and mix things up, bring a different approach to the table than my counterparts. And that's including some of the tenured Democrats as well, that happen to start caucusing with the Republicans, giving them the majority. I think I have some unfinished business to do in terms of growth in my community. As I mentioned before, I'm the youngest guy on the council by age, by tenure in politics, and I feel that I can continue to bring the passion to the table and to the community that it deserves. So being in politics is not easy. A lot of people get mad at you for any particular reason, and you have to have thick skin and continue to persevere in the environment that you're in. I want to accomplish more things in my next term, and I'm hoping to do so by winning a majority of Democrats on that council and a Democratic mayor. If you recall, I happened to be the councilman that championed the fight on education when we had a $4 million shortfall and created a resolution, a piece of legislation to force the mayor and the Republican caucus to give back some funds to the Board of Education. And there was a $4 million shortfall. We ended up giving back, I think, about 1.6 or 1.8 back to them, roughly, or approximately. And that was a step in the right direction. I will continue to be sensitive to our education system, because I think it needs its support. We have a very good superintendent that seems to be on the ball, seems to be firm, strong, and I think we have some very good candidates running for the Board of Education, and also some other very good elected Board of Education folks that can, I think, work more in alignment, more in a cohesive manner for the benefit of our children. I grew up in Norwalk and went through all the public school system here, including community college. So, for me, it is extremely important for the next generation that they have a quality education, a first-class education here in Norwalk. If the surrounding towns are doing it, we can do it as well. We are certainly more diverse. We are certainly more bigger and different from some of the surrounding towns, but there is no reason why we can't perform at a level that is admirable, not only in our region here, but in the country. And I will continue to fight for our education system, because it's extremely important in my view. It got me to where I am today, and I believe it is the way of the future. I will continue to fight for progress in stalled projects and to work with developers and the city. I think it's important to have relationships, open dialogue, better communication with the folks who are willing to invest millions of dollars into our city. There needs the direction of the public sector, the private sector, specifically the mayor's office, the council, zoning laws and regulations, zoning commission, planning and zoning department. That relationship between all of them, including the redevelopment agency, has to move forward in a different direction, in a more cohesive way. And I think that relationships need to be built in a better way, so that way we're working together to really build the future of Norwalk. I still feel that there are pockets of our city that need to be addressed. I certainly have the confidence in our police department to go out there and do the job. I certainly think we need more feet on the street. I believe the new chief of police, not so new anymore, but I do believe the chief of police understands that. I think he is rolling out more community policing. And I think it's a working relationship as well, where it certainly has some work cut out for itself. But I think building a better relationship between the community and our police force is something that can really get Norwalk into a better place, in particular those pockets of crime.
You obviously seem very confident that with a Democratic mayor, things can go smoothly. With a majority Democratic majority, things can go smoothly. What happens if that doesn't happen? Mm-hmm. What happens if Republican mayor stays in office? What happens if the Republican Party still has a majority on the council? How does somebody like you work through that, I guess, would be the question.
With a Republican mayor and a majority of Republicans, it is not fun governing from the minority standpoint, because you're really not taking into consideration. It's really what the majority and the mayor sets the agenda, and the majority follows the lead, if you will. It's a very challenging place to be. And if we end up with a scenario like that, I've learned a lot in my first 2 years on how we can govern from a minority standpoint. And it's an uphill battle. It really is. It's creating mechanisms and ways to have our voice heard, where in a scenario like that you really can't get anything done because you don't have the votes to do so. And some of the ways that we'll continue to perhaps govern is by holding more community events, engaging the public, holding press conferences when we have real differences of opinion, and really making noise, introducing resolutions and legislation that addresses our concerns.